Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Steve Best with the Swamp Chat. I'm going to share a song with you that I wrote way back in the 60s that I used when I opened up for Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers. I had both bands back me up on these songs that I wrote, and this is one of them called Mudslide. Now I know there's a song out there called Mudslide today, but this is way back in the 60s that I wrote this song. So this is a song called Mudslide that I wrote. I did it at a lot of the city festivals, even as an opening number. Well, baby, do you have to always put me down? You get a kick out of doing it to my friends all around the town. Like some poor fool, I just keep coming round. Well, you love to dress up, wear your fancy clothes. Secrets when your doors are closed. Like a mudslide, always coming down. You would ride all around the town with a cheap shot, always coming round. Baby, do you have to always bring me down? You're going to kick my heels up when I'm feeling so low to the ground. Like some old bulldog, I just keep hanging around. A mudslide, always coming down. Sure ride all around the town. Just a cheap shot, always coming down. Oh baby, do you have to always put me down? It's hard to kick my heels up when I'm feeling so low to the ground. Like some old bulldog, I just keep hanging round. Like a mudslide, always coming down. Would ride all around the town. A cheap shot, always coming down. down. All right, that's Mudslide. That's a song I used for years when I opened up for the Allman Brothers and Lynyrd Skynyrd, and played at the Miami Rock Festival in 1969, the Atlanta Pop Festival in July 4th, 1970. I was playing the harmonica for the Allman Brothers Band at that time, and went on tour, a Southeast tour in 1970 with Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I used Mudslide a lot, and Lynyrd Skynyrd played the song with me. And I'm going to share a little story here now, and it's about a lot of my stories now. You're going to have to read my book when it's published, Rocker on His Own, and it's by Steve and Carol Vest, my wife Carol, and it's my life with the bands, before the bands, after the bands, the aftermath of playing with two of the most famous bands to come out of the South. And so you'll have to read my book to get those stories, a lot of the stories. Some of the stories I can tell on my show here, but I already have a manuscript, so I'm looking for a literary agent, so wish me luck on that. But I want to talk to you about how I got my first headband. My headband is my trademark. Now, it's just like Leon Wilkerson, Thumper. He had his leather Mad Hatter hats from, you know, going way back to the early 70s. I remember when Leon first had his big top hat. It was made out of leather, and it's in a showcase at Neon Leon's, where his nephew owns a Cajun restaurant. You'll find it right there in Homosassa Springs, Florida. Leon had his trademark. Ronnie had his cloth, like a sweatband, like a sweat headband that he wore. And we were playing, Skynyrd and I were playing, and this was still in the 60s, at a teen club in Jacksonville, Florida, where they were raised, and I was raised with them, a place called the Sugar Bowl. And a woman came up to me and she said, "I love your hair." You know, my hair was way down on my shoulders. She said, "You got the most beautiful hair, but what you need, you don't need to be wearing a hat, because a hat's going to hide that beautiful head of hair of yours. So I made this for you, and I hope you'll wear it." And it was a black headband made out of a belt that she had stitched together and had silver studs on it. And I wore that for many years as my trademark when I played with the bands and opened up for the bands. I am the original sideman for both Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers. I have all kinds of stories. I have stories about Greg Allman and me, Dwayne Allman and me. One funny story is when we were all living down in Daytona Beach. We used to meet at the Crystal down there in Daytona Beach back in the summer of '68. Greg was flying in and out of Daytona Beach. He was working with his band, the Hourglass, out in Los Angeles, under contract with Liberty Records. And he'd come back, and we would eat at the Crystal a lot. Dwayne would come in, and Dwayne never took that guitar off. He had that Les Paul with him around his shoulders. He was signing autographs because he'd already worked in Muscle Shoals with the Swampers there, and he worked on the Aretha Franklin Respect album. He was he was soon to record with Wilson Pickett on the Hey Jude album of Wilson Pickett, and he already had notoriety, so he'd be signing autographs, and Greg and I'd be there, and we'd all eat Crystal burgers and have thick shakes. That was a thing with us. So when we all ended up back in Jacksonville, Florida, we used to meet at the San Juan Crystal after playing at the Forest Inn. You know, we would and we'd all pile out of vans and everything to get our Crystal burgers and French fries and that good old thick chocolate shake that the Crystal makes. I remember one night Greg and I were coming back from Dwayne's, and we were getting a hard time about our hair, being called girls, everything. And well, we were getting about fighting mad, you know, at these good old boys, you know, teasing us, but the teasing had gone a bit far. So we finally, I said, "Where you headed, Greg? Crystal?" He said, "Yeah, let's go get us a thick shake and just forget this whole thing ever happened." So that was a little story there about Greg Allman. I've got stories about Skynyrd and me. My book is packed with stories about Lynyrd Skynyrd and me. I played with the original Lynyrd Skynyrd band for 7 years. I started playing with them when they were the Noble Five in 1965, and I played with them till 1972 when they took Billy Powell as the next member of the band, and they put keyboards to the band Lynyrd Skynyrd. Before that, I played a backup 12-string guitar and even blew the harmonica in some of their songs. So stay tuned, folks. This is about the end of this episode, and we got a third show on its way.